Multiple anti-vaccine protests following Ministry of Health's deadline. Parika family assaults cops. Herpes man arrested for cow theft. And why it's cheaper to educate. I'm Lorico Bulford, and welcome to tonight's edition of Uncut News. Yesterday was the 2-week deadline for government employees to get vaccinated or pay for their own testing. Despite that fact, dozens of unvaccinated employees of the Georgetown Public Hospital showed up for work this morning only to be locked out. This follows yesterday's protests in both Linden and Georgetown, resulting in several arrests. 8 protesters were arrested and possibly charged for holding an illegal procession or marching on Brickdown to the Ministry of Education's offices, where several unvaccinated workers were on Tuesday ordered to leave. Then late last night, the Guyana Teachers Union announced that the union is on standby to take legal action against the government if unvaccinated teachers are prevented from entering their workplaces come September 6th. Instead, they will ask the government to provide Pfizer vaccines for those who are interested and who have actually inquired about it, and free PCR tests to teachers who do not want to take any vaccine. They also advise teachers to do all their pre-term preparations and report for duty every day, even if they are barred from entering the compound. Criminals in Guyana may soon have to find another place to flee, as the governments of Suriname and Guyana are both drafting a bilateral extradition agreement. Yes, despite having established diplomatic relations in November of 1975, criminals continue to flee to Suriname and vice versa because of the lack of an extradition treaty. This is because its constitution prohibits the extradition of its nationals. While there was always an arrangement to allow for the deportation of wanted Guyanese back to Guyana, there was not one for the deportation of Surinamese wanted for crimes committed in Guyana. Glenn Lowell is going to have to cough up a couple $1 million, seeing as he just lost another defamation lawsuit to Winston Brosington for defamatory statements Guyanese News published about him back in 2014. This time, Brassy was awarded $2 million in damages. Back in February, he was awarded $10 million, and last September he was awarded over $18 million in a series of defamation suits against the newspaper. The appeal court was forced to postpone an attempted murder appeal due to partial missing notes of evidence. The appeal was filed by Hansel Andre Lewis, who is currently serving a 13-year sentence for attempted murder. Lewis is seeking to have his conviction overturned or reviewed, believing that his sentence is severe and excessive. The court gave them 21 days to locate the documents. Nevertheless, a decision will be made during the next hearing based on the status of the missing notes. Are you one of the chosen few that benefits from duty-free? Good for you! Check out these amazing vehicles that just arrived at Best Buy Auto Sales. This 2016 Toyota Harrier Grand Sport Edition, this 2014 Range Rover Evoque, and this 2016 Lexus RX 200T are all on sale. They are all fully loaded and come with all modern features. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Rose Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Rico sent you to get in on a sweet deal. 3 teenage girls, aged 14, 15, and 16, have been reported missing from the Canaan orphanage at Port Morant Quarantine. They went missing some 2 weeks ago. However, the families of the girls only learned of this after inquiring about them and visiting the orphanage. The administrator said the matter was already reported to the police and the child care department. A few days before the girls went missing, the staff confiscated a cell phone from one of them. That phone is now in the police's hands as the investigation continues. Last night, one family in Parika assaulted police officers responding to a noise nuisance complaint. When the officers arrived, they told the people to turn off the music because no one in the village wants to hear their ignorant taste in music. However, one female relative responded with pure aggression and even assaulted an officer when they finally seized the music amplifier. Even though one person is seen holding a knife while others physically and verbally assaulted the officers, no one was arrested. Meanwhile, in Kokwani, one constable was placed under close arrest after he allegedly shot a suspect in the groin on Wednesday. The police said that 40-year-old Kenan Harry was in the middle of brutally assaulting a woman when the cops arrived. That's when Harry then turned his rage to one of the ranks, resulting in a fight which ended with Harry getting shot in the willy. He is currently being treated at the Linden Hospital. You there, Mr. Truck Owner. A great place to get high-quality truck parts and engine spares for low prices is Powered Automotive. They stock parts for DAF, Freightliner, Mark, International, and all models of Cummins engines. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on 697-0171. Say big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Real thing. It's now time for today's Run Report. Today, the nation recorded 151 new cases. There are now 606 persons dead, 22 in the ICU, 1,510 in home isolation. The total number of confirmed cases around the nation now stands at 24,864. So please, people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 meters space between you and others. Trinidad has confirmed that a traveler from Guyana has tested positive for the Delta variant. While many believe this is solid evidence that the strain is floating about Guyana's population, the health ministry has not offered any stats on the presence of the strain, as it does not have the lab equipment to test for it. The Trinidad Ministry of Health on Wednesday said that they've had 5 confirmed cases of the variant thus far. Quarantine cops catch cow thief. A 23-year-old cow napper is currently in police custody after he reportedly stole an unbranded cow early this morning. The police said the suspect was observed with the animal along J.C. Chandrasingh Street in Rosehall, but abandoned the captive cattle after he saw a patrolling party of policemen. Both the cow and the suspect are still in police custody. And now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? The fact that it's actually cheaper to send a student to UG than to Camp Street. In 2016, it was reported that the state spends approximately 485,000 Guyana dollars a year to house one prisoner at the Camp Street prison, which is about the same cost as the average 4-year tuition at UG. Or to give you more context, this year's budget saw $3.3 billion allocated across both of University of Guyana's campuses, while the prison service was allocated over $5 billion. Worse yet, the government is considering a multi-billion-dollar renovation of the prison facilities, while the UG remains in the same decrepit state it has been in for decades. This tells me that the state would rather invest money in punishing you rather than educating you, seeing as jobs and education are probably the single most effective ways to fight crime. This manner of governing just feels a little backwards. Now, I'll admit, that is just a bit too deductive in my reasoning in terms of the numbers, because I'm pretty sure there's many other factors that go into this, and I'm also pretty sure that the prisons do need an upgrade. Because currently it's either house them in a wooden death trap in town or a foul pen on the East Coast. But if we can find the money to feed and house a criminal, surely we could feed and house a student, right? If you ask me, I believe that anything less than that is pretty stupid. Don't miss the grand 50% off sale and get a free 1-month digital Prime bundle plan. Available at City Mall, Starbrook Square, Regent and Light Street, Marcy Turkine, and Marcy Providence. Shop early, limited stocks available. Moving on to our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in the nation, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So you give your responses in the comments and we'll read the best ones in the following episode. Yesterday's question was, do you think it's time for students to go back to face-to-face instruction, or would you suggest a different education model? Kobe Osborne says he thinks it's time for the kids to attend school again, but only if the ministry first provides safe transportation for the kids, maintains social distancing, and has a morning-afternoon rotation system for classes. Tarifa Wolfer doesn't think the kids are ready to go back to school yet, seeing as the union fighting with the minister and the big ones just can't get their act together. It's going to get much worse before it could get any better. Tito Passard says children need to go back to school because a lot of them don't have the support system to learn at home. The schools don't have to be full, they can be on a rotation system with classes in the morning and afternoon. However, Ananda Smith-Witter the mother of 4 young energetic boys, disagrees. She says she'd prefer the ministry pause on the reopening of schools since most of our children are not ready. Her 3-year-old can't even keep his mask on for an hour in church, so she doesn't believe the ministry will be able to ensure that young children fully observe the protocols. And finally, Jermaine Joseph gives an answer I think we all can agree with. He says nobody will be ready due to everyone being used to being at home. He knows for sure that the teachers ain't ready. Aha! I agree. So for tonight's question, should the government pay for the PCR test of employees who do not wish to get vaccinated? Whether you think so or not, they really do need to bring the price down on these tests. In New York, they do it for free, and you can get tested like almost everywhere. It's ridiculous. You have to pay almost $100 down here for one. Anyway, think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.